Okay. I made some changes to the program we started last time. First thing I did is I added this tab feature on here. So this is where you can have tabs like in Excel. Now where this came from, it's really easy to use, is down here. There's under the containers, there's one called tab control. So you can click and draw it like that, and it just puts tab pages on here. Now as you right click it, you'll see it refers to different items. You can also see it over here under the properties. So this right here has just this tab page 3 highlighted. This is probably the hardest part working with tabs, is to know what you're working with. And you see tab page 3 there. If I click up here, it says tab control 2. This is the entire item up here. If I want to choose this tab page 4, if I click that tab and then click down here, you'll see it changes to tab page 4. Depending upon what you have selected, you have different options. There's not much there. If I right click here, okay, not actually a whole lot there either. The only thing that's additional is the add tab and remove tab. So if I click add tab, you see that there. If I right click it again, I can add another tab. If I have that one selected, and I right click and choose remove tab, then you'll see you get rid of that one. So again, you see the add tab, remove tab there. You come down here, you don't see those items. Now what this does is when we create these tabs then when I like I have a list box, I guess. I put it here on this tab. Then if I go to tab page 4, it isn't there. So it's specifically just on this. So it's a nice way to contain the related elements together. I renamed this to select. Just like everything else, it has a property. This tab control, you see it's tab control 1 here. That's the entire item. And you can always do the drop down here and go to tab page 1 easily, or you can click it. And you see the text here. I changed to select. This one I changed it to insert. Right there. We're going to have 2 more, so I'll go ahead and add them. Up here, I'm going to right click in this gray area and click add tab. And I want this one to be, I'll click that tab pages there. This is going to be our update. And I'll right click up in the gray area again and choose add tab and click in the white area in here and change this to delete. These are your 4 main operations that you have. Select, insert, update, and delete. Now we looked at the insert last time, and just to run that to refresh your memory. If I click the load here, this would load in what work orders are in the table. So if I click that, that loads them in. If I choose one and then click this load button here, That'll load in the values over here. There we go. This one was to look up a single order. So if I type in W0124 and click this button, then that goes off and just locates that single order. Now our insert is going to add a new order into our table. So let's look at the code I put into this. I went ahead and got this. We're going to use it as a pattern for update and delete. First off, how insert goes is you insert into and then your table name, and then you put your fields here. So order number, customer name, total, and tax, and you have parentheses around those. And then you have your values here, and your values has parentheses around them. And this is where you put your values at. So a work order, and notice I put single quotes around it because it's a string. 2, I put single quotes around it as a string. Steven Seagal, I put strings or quotes around it as a string. And total and tax are both numbers, so I did not have to put single quotes around there. I think you get an error if you did. Now, I didn't update all these, but you could. Like if I wanted to update city, I can put city at the end. City was from our table over here. City is a short text. And Wellington. If I put a 9 there, change it. And then if I ran this, go to design, and I click run. It's already open over here, so I'm going to come over here. I'll right click on this and do close. And now I'm going to go to design and run it. It says you're going to append one row. So I just click a yes here. It's kind of a warning over in Access. You do not get that from a programming standpoint. So my goal was to recreate this SQL query here. Okay, so I dropped on 5 text fields. Insert order number, insert customer number, all of them start with TB. Insert customer name, insert total, insert tax. Then I double click this. I got my try here and my catch exception, EX, and then my message box showing error. And I changed this to do a connection.close in here. I realized I didn't have that. So anytime you had, and I had, it took me a while to get this working. I was putting the single quotes in the wrong place, and it's just not as easy as you might think. But then it wouldn't let me fire it off again within the same program. So I had to put this connection.close here. It never got down to this point right here if it blew up right here. Now, I open my connection. I close my connection down here. Then I create OLE database command. And I call it command equals new OLE database command. We've seen that before. Here I connect that command. See the command there, dot connection equals lowercase connection. I connect that to our connection. Remember up here, We have our connection defined. And then this is here is where we connect it to the Access database. Or not connected, but that's where we create our connection string. And then within my form load, you see that's where we open a connection and close it to check it. So again, that's what we're talking about. Okay, so then down here I started building my SQL. This part was easy. Insert into orders. I need this here. This next part was pretty easy because it's there's no single quotes in there, nothing special. So you just put double quote there, you're concatenating it. That's what that plus does. And do all those. And I don't have city on here. That's just something I added on there. And then the closing parentheses. Then your next one, you need values and your beginning parentheses. And we need this single quote right here. Well, that's what this single quote is right there. Then I get the value from the text box. And then I do a closing single quote and a comma. Closing single quote and the commas right there. And then do the same on these rest of them. I got a single quote here, closing with a single quote comma. Single quote, comma. I got down to here my numbers. You do not need quotes around these. So you do not see around this one, you do not down here. You do not see the single quotes around it, but we do have a comma at the end. Because after we print 1,000, for example, you need that comma. And here's my tax. And after the tax, that was my end where I just needed my closing parentheses. Now from there, again, I had the message box.show here, command.command text. That helped me to figure out all my mistakes in my building that SQL. And then I run. I execute a non-query because I'm not returning anything. I'm just I'm updating. And then I close. So if I run this, if I click load here, this is what I got currently. So I'm going to add a new one over here. I go to insert, W0132, customer number 5, Frank Willis, total 5,000, tax 300. Click insert record, and it shows me what it's going to insert. Again, I take this out once I'm comfortable with all my testing. Click OK. Doesn't come back and tell us anything. Probably a little display message would be nice. I could even use this one down here where I could say record inserted. But now if I come over here and I click load, you now see we have a new record here. And if I click that and click the load here, that loads it in. And I didn't have any city in there, so that's why you don't see anything. Now let's change this to have a city. We could actually change it to have all of our fields. I'm going to use the lasso select, the rectangular select to select those. I click down here in the white space, and I click and hold out my left mouse button and drag, and you see a rectangle being drawn. Okay, so I'm going to open up orders here. I'm going to design view. I got order number, customer name. Looks like I got all those. I need address 1, address 2, city, state, and zip. And I got everything else. So I can right click on this and choose copy. Right click over here in the gray area, choose paste. Right click again, choose paste. And right click, paste. Or you can do Control V over and over. Okay, and I'm just going to right click on this and choose copy and come over here and paste. Right click, paste. Right click, paste. And paste again. Paste again. Now by default, text is highlighted here. So if I just start typing my new text, it'll put that there. It looks like we got address 1, so ADDR1. Click this one, I'll start typing ADDR2. City, state, and zip. So city, state, zip. I'm going to rename these. Come up here to my name. This is going to be TB insert address 1. This one will be TB insert address 2. TB insert city. TB insert state. TB insert zip. I think all 5 of those are short text. Zip. Zip is a number. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go back to our code now that we've added these and named all these. Here at the end, on this line, this is where I list what fields. I'm going to type address 1, address 2, city, state, zip. I think that was the exact names of those. Yeah. I don't believe case matters, so I won't worry about that. Now I got 5 additional ones I need to put on the end of here. So I'm going to separate them with commas. And then I'll do a command dot command text equals command dot command text. By the way, this really does work out nice if you use a little shortcut on that. TB, no, I need a single quote before it. So single quote, and then my TB underscore address 1. Now I need a single quote in, or a single quote here, and then a comma for the next field. When I talk about the shortcut on that, see if I can remember how to do it. It's either equals plus or plus equals. I think equals plus. Like that. And then a single quote, then address 2. Except for they should be text. So I've messed that up on the previous one. And obviously it doesn't like that. What is it? Plus equals? This one up here would give me an error eventually because I need to have refer to text, not the actual object. Like I say, you can use that. Makes it a little bit easier, I think. I need another single quote around it, plus tbins city dot text plus single quote, comma. Now again, where I'm getting this at is in your insert. You have to have a single quote to begin with, and then you end it with a single quote and a comma. So that's just what I'm creating here. Definitely you can edit copy to make this a little bit easier. I just don't want to go too fast because then it's hard to absorb what in the world I'm doing. So single quote, state, text, and end it with a single quote, put a comma. My next one, address 1, address 2, city, state. Next one, zip, which is a number. So I don't need a single quote. tbins zip dot text plus, and I want to end it with a closing parentheses. You have to end your values with a closing parentheses. This right here. I don't need a comma at the end because there's nothing else following that field. That should be it. Again, that message box is going to help us see if we even got it right. Okay, so if I come over to insert here, I can do W0210, customer number 5, customer name, Bruce Willis, 5,200, address 100 Main, leave address 2 blank. This is in Oxford, let's say. Kansas, 67110. Click Insert Record. Insert into orders. Okay, got all my field names, comma, okay. Values, brings those in. Okay, 2 single quotes right next to each other here because there's nothing there. That's okay. Okay, everything looks fine. So click OK. Now I should be able to go to the select, do the load here, and I should see my new one. And if I click load, you see it loads in my values. That's how you do an insert. Now an update. This updates an existing field. Well, actually, you can update more than that, but first off, I'm going to get my syntax correct because I don't remember it. So I play that a little bit. I'll update orders. I think it's a set. And let's say I'm going to set city. Set city equals to Peck. And then you have a where. Order number equals to W00123. Okay. Let me look at my data. I'll right click on this, choose datasheet view. Okay, I do have that. It's currently set to Wellington. So let's see if I got everything right. Update order set to the city equals where equals that. Okay, it'll tell us if we don't. If I run that, you're about to update one row. Click yes. It's weird. It didn't tell me I had to close this. But I see it changed it to Peck. Okay, so we're going to use this as our pattern. Now, first I need to do my design. And maybe I'll do my design such that I'll have all these same fields, except for I'm not going to allow them to change order number. So let me highlight all these. I take my rectangular select, and I'm going to do a edit copy. You can do a Control C, or you can come up here. I'll go over my update, and I'll click in this white area down here, right click, and choose paste. I'm going to move them up a little bit. Maybe I'll move them down and move them to the side. Let's try that. Now up here, I'm going to have a blank for a search. And I want it to go and look for the work order and return all the values. And then over here, I'm going to have a button for updating it. By the way, if I click the form here, it says Form 1. You see there's a window state, there's normal, minimized, and maximized. If I chose maximized here, takes up your entire screen. So if you've been watching me resize the window over and over and you're wondering, why doesn't he fix that? I don't like it taking up the entire screen for some reason. But that's how you do it. Okay. Let me set that back. For the most part, except for this high density, this 4K screen I have here, pretty much what you see on the screen here is what it looks like when you run it. It just the dots, the DPMI dots, the high DPMI is what's causing what you're seeing there. Okay. Well, now I'm going to check the names of these because I know they're not the same. Text box 10. I don't want that. I want to call that TB up for update and order number. Okay, this one, I'm going to rename this TB up customer number. After you have one of them selected, you can just start typing. TB up customer name. TB up total. TB up tax. TB up address 1. TB up address 2. TB up city. TB up state. TB up zip. Okay, so now I'm going to have a button up here to look up the value. So there, and look up order. And I need a text box here. Give this a name. TB underscore up search value. Let's get this working first, and then we'll work on the update. Well, I already got some code to look up a work order. So if I come back here to the insert, that's under this button. So don't reinvent the wheel. If you can reuse this code, go ahead and do it. If it makes sense to put it in its own method so you can call it from multiple places, then do that. Okay, highlighted it. I did a Control-C. So now I'm going to go back to update here. Double click the lookup order, and I paste that in, Control-V. Okay, so I got my search string. I need to retrieve the search string from our TB underscore up search value dot text. Clear text boxes. Yeah, it's appropriate, but that'll clear the ones over on that main page. So maybe what I really want to do is clear ints or update text boxes. And I'll come back and fix that here in a little bit. Open my connection, create a new command. I'm going to select star. So this is retrieving everything from orders where order number, like, I don't remember why I put like there, but order number is equal to, and they got single quotes here, and then whatever I put in. That looks good. I'm showing SQL just so I can make sure it looks okay. I'm doing a reader, and I can execute the reader, but I shouldn't find more than one order number. That's assuming I set it up so you can't put a duplicate in there. We haven't really done that. Now, after we get that, then we want to write out the information. This was TB underscore up, customer number. I think that was that. City. Customer name, I think we had. TB up customer name dot text equals reader customer we'll right click on this and choose design view, cust name. ToString. Customer number, order number, address 1. TB up, address 1, dot text, equals reader, address 1, ToString, TB up, address 2, dot text, equals reader, address 2, ToString. City, I guess, is the next one. I already got that there. TB up, state, dot text, equals reader, state, ToString. TB up zip dot text equals reader zip dot ToString. Now you might say, I thought zip was a number. Yeah, it was, but the text box where we're going to put it at is a text box, so it's a string, and this returns it as a string. So I don't need to do any kind of conversion on that. What else I got? Total and tax. So TB underscore up. Total dot text equals to reader. Total. ToString. Same idea here. I don't need to convert it. And then tax. Okay. Now, if it works, it should fill in all my blanks, but I don't want them to be able to change this order number. They can update everything else in the record, but I don't want order numbers like our key value. Doesn't make any sense to change it. If they want to change it, maybe I provide a special menu option for that, or maybe I make them delete it and re-add it back in. Those are things you have to decide on from a programming standpoint. How do you want to implement this? And they'll tell you sometimes. They'll say, we don't want to delete it by accident, or change it by accident, so leave that as is. Because if you think about it, if you ever ordered anything, they send you an email, and on that email is your order number. That's your main key into what you ordered. If they change it on their end, and you'll call them up and say, hey, I'm checking on this order number. And they'll say, well, I don't have that order. And then they're upset and so forth. So again, key values you don't want changed. Okay, so to make this, I'm drawing a blank. Enabled, I think. Visible is where you can see it or not. See, visible down here is the other one. Enabled is where you can actually edit it. So I'm going to change that to false. And let's start that. And got errors, of course. Does not exist. Oh, I haven't created that. Okay. So I got public, void, clear, update, text boxes. And I'll say TB underscore up, customer number dot text equals to blank, or I could simply do a clear. TB up order number dot clear. TB up customer name dot clear. TB up address 1 dot clear. TB up address 2 dot clear. TB up city dot clear. TB up state dot clear. TB up zip dot clear. TB up total dot clear. And TB up tax dot clear. I think those were all the fields. Okay, so go to my insert over here. Update. Just want to search for it. W0123. Look up order. Select star. I still got the percent there. I don't want that percent, but it's okay. That's curious. I didn't find anything though. unless the percent is what was messing it up. Well, let's go back and get rid of that percent. Again, it's helpful if you name these buttons before you start coding it. Because then you know where your code is. Otherwise, you have to double click on it. And percent. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that percent. Now let's run it. Select star from orders where order numbers equal W0123. Okay, it was the percent at the end. Let me check to make sure everything's going in the right blank. It looks like it. You'll notice I can click on these and I can change these now. But I cannot click an order number. I could type in a new one up here and do a lookup order. But there's no way I can actually change order number. So that's locked down. Okay, so now we want to put our button in here so that it will update whatever you change here. Okay, so I need a new button. And I'll call this one Update Changes under the text. So Update Changes. And I want to go and steal some code because the insert is where I had all my code for updating the database. So I'm going to copy all that. So double click this. Okay, so Control C. Come back to my Form 1 here, go to my Update. Double click Update Changes. Paste that in, Control V. Okay, that's my Update tab, Update button. So Update tab and Update button. Okay, so connection open. I create a new OLE, the database command, connect them. Now here I want to do my update. This is where it's nice to have an example right in front of you. I want it to say update orders. Now make sure you have a space after orders, which I do there.
You may actually have 2 spaces there.
Oh, do I? Yeah, that won't matter. You just at least have to have one.
Okay.
Now I want to do my set, and I think that you separate them with a comma. But I'm gonna check it here because it's easier for me to check over in Access than it is to mess it up. Okay, so let me run that again. Design, run. That's nice. It's already open. Okay. So right click this and close. And try to run it again. About to update one row. Okay. So there's a comma between them. So I'm going to have my set. So I'll do my command dot command text plus equals, I think was what it was. Plus equals. Just so I can show more of it on the screen. And I'll have my set. And then my field name equals the value. So I'm going to do those on separate lines. Command dot command text. Because I'm not going to type all of this. I'm going to just copy it after I get the first one. And I got my set, and then I might need my name. I don't want to update order number, so I start with customer number. So customer number equals. So customer number equals. I need a single quote, then my value, and another single quote, and a comma. So I'm going to have a single quote. Then my value, which is under TB up, customer number dot text plus, and then I need a closing single quote and a comma. Now again, what that corresponds with is a single quote here to start it, and then a single quote and then a comma, and then my next one's going to come and play. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. That's going to be customer name, address 1, address 2, city, state, zip, total, and tax. No memory. I'll right click on this, goes to design view. Okay, so customer number, that looks right. I need customer name. Address 1. By the way, case doesn't matter. Sometimes you see me putting uppercase there. Sometimes you see me putting lowercase. SQL doesn't care. Strange as that seems. Or at least Access doesn't care, I should say. City. State. Zip. Total. Tax. Okay, and this, instead of being that, is going to be TB underscore up, customer name dot text. Sometimes it's easier to get rid of all of this instead of trying to change it. Because if you get rid of all of it, then the your window will pop up. And that'll help you fill out the rest. Address 2.text. Of course, even in doing that, sometimes I just sit there and I type it all out, even though I don't need to. City, state. Text. Now we get down to the zip here. And zip is a number, which means I do not need a single quote in front of it. I do not need a single quote after it. I still need a comma separating the fields. And this one's going to be TB underscore zip dot text. Same here with total here. I don't need a single quote in front of it. I don't need a single quote after it. Still need a comma because there's one more field to go. TB up total dot text. Get rid of this single quote. This is TB up, what is this, tax dot text. I don't know what needs to go after it. I guess the next thing is nothing, and then there's going to be a where. So I need to get rid of everything after it, like that. And now I'm ready for my where. Command text.
Your total text needs to be capitalized.
It does, doesn't it? Plus equals. Where. I'm going to do a space here just to make sure I have a space, at least one space there. Where order number equals. Now notice my next thing is a single quote, so I have to have that single quote. So single quote. You could put it directly inside that first string there. I'm just doing it just to really emphasize it here. And we need this, which should be in that field TB up order number text plus, and then I need a closing single quote. That should be it. That's famous last words. Took me 2 or 3 or 4 tries to actually get the insert to work. So I kept leaving the different parts off. Again, I'm displaying it here, and then I'm going to execute it. So let's save this and run it. Can't even get that far. Okay. Text box does not contain text definition for uppercase. Now let's run it. Now I have some issues with my code I can correct, like the update here. I don't want them to click this while this is all blank. So I could make that so it's not enabled until you bring something up. We'll show that here in a minute. But let's look up a work order. Work order. Order number 0123. Click that. Okay, that looks good. Let's say I want to change it. It's not really Bill Smith. It's Bill Williams. I put too many L's in there, but I should make that bigger. Total, let's say it's 7,000. This is 200. So they give me that they're in suite 5. They're in Harper. Whatever that is. Now I'm going to click the update changes. Okay, update the table name, set, and in fact it's all run together, that's fine. When I, over in Access, when I put these on separate lines, they don't have to be on separate lines. Okay, so update orders, update my table name, set, customer number equals 1, there's quotes around it, comma, customer number equals Bill Williams, quotes around it. Address 1 equals 100 Main. Address 2 equals Suite 5. City is equal Harper. State is equal to Kansas. Zip, no quotes around it. That looks good. Total 7,000. Tax is 200. Where order number is equal to, in quotes around W0123. So everything looks perfect. If I click OK here, of course I didn't make it so it actually said it updated it, but I should have. If I was going to give this to a user, I'd want to make sure that was correct. Well, if I just look up a different one to kind of clear out those blanks. Okay, so I got those cleared out. Let me go back to W0123. And you see all my changes I put into place are still there. So it worked. It updated my record. Like I said, we can do some cleaning up where you could have that disabled to begin with. If I come here and go to my properties, Enabled. You could even have it not even visible, but enabled right here. I'm going to change that to false. So when I look up an order number, this button is called button 5, real good naming. When I look that up and I find one, then I want to set button 5 dot enabled equals true. So now if I run this, come over to my update, and I can't click this because it isn't enabled. It's not until I bring up a record that now I can click this. Now these, this is a huge part of programming. This is pretty much what I did for 13 years. You know, it wasn't really complex math I did. It was working with SQL. And then you think about how you'd want to do like this update here. What if they don't remember their order number? Well, maybe they leave it blank and they click look up order and it pops up with another form where they can choose from the order numbers that are available. Maybe you have a lookup by name. They can type in a name here. Because let's say that I'm actually Bill Williams and I'm calling up and saying, I want to see the status of my order. And they say, well, what's your work order number? I have no clue. Well, they could come over here and they could do this load here and they could load each one of these. Try to find that one. That's kind of tedious. Maybe it's better to put some kind of capability in here so they can look it up by name. Lots of different ways you can do this. Okay, we got one more, delete. Well, let's first look at how delete goes. I don't remember how it goes, so I have to play it a little bit. I know it's delete orders. And I think all you need is a where. I think it's easier. Where order number By the way, if you do this without the where on there, I think it deletes all of your records. So you have to be careful on that. If you don't put your appropriate selection on there, then your database is done. Order number equals to W0124. Come here, right click, choose datasheet view. I do have a W0124, so that's good. Let's run this and see. Go to my design, run that. Doesn't like something. Oh, delete orders. Well, delete orders, order number. Order underscore number. I must just be remembering the command completely wrong. W3C school SQL. Delete. Looking right at it. Delete from. So delete from orders. Okay. So the from is what I was missing. I was going to correct that M because it was bothering me, but I just want to demonstrate order case doesn't matter. It says getting ready to delete one row. That's fine. Okay, so this is what we want to recreate. different ways we could do this. One is you could load orders here and then select it. Instead of a load, you could have a delete button. And you click that delete and it deletes your record. That's one way. Another way is how we looked up a work order number here. You can put a button and then a blank, and then they type in the work order or the order number, click the button and it deletes it. And I'm going to go with that option. So I'll come over here to my delete, just because I'm not sure if I have time for the other one. Pretty sure I have time for this. Okay, and then I do my text box. And this one I'll give a text, say delete order. Call this one as TB _ DEL for delete order number. Okay, now I'm going to go steal some code. So I'm going to come back here to my insert, I guess, double click this, and I want to copy my code. There we go, Control C. Come here to my delete. Double click delete order, paste that in, Control V. Okay, got my try, open my connection, connect my command to my connection with these. Here's where my SQL starts. So I'm wanting delete from orders. Where order number equals, and I might as well go ahead and put that on the same line here. I think I have room. Where order number equals command text equals. We need a order number equals. We need a single quote right here. So I'll put in my single quote. And then what was put in the text box, which was TB _ DL order number .text plus, and then another single quote here. And strange as it seems, that's all we need. Like I say, it's easier. Again, you have to make sure that you have this where correct. Whenever I did a delete in an application, I'd go over to whatever SQL query tool I had, and I would first make sure this was returning what I was wanting. So I changed the delete to the select from, and everything else pretty much always stayed the same. Then you'd run it, and if it returned one record, or in this case none, I guess, because I don't have any under that. Oh, it's deleted. Okay. Returns one record, then you know you're right on target. If your select statement returns 500 records, you know you don't got your SQL right. Because if you issue a delete command, you change that select star to delete, it's going to delete all 500 records. Now, access is nice. It'll come back and prompt you, I think. Says you're going to delete that. You say no. But over here, that's not so nice. If you don't have this SQL correct, then it'll delete all 500 records. If you're in a production environment, that's not good. All of a sudden, you got upset users in the company. You got your your boss chewing you out, maybe even firing you. That can be very bad. Perfect environment is you have a test database and you have a production database to work with. All development that you're doing is via the test database. Not everybody has a perfect environment because that costs money, and so sometimes you are working with live data. Okay, let's run this and see if it works. Well, first off, load here. These are the ones I got available. So 125. That was this one. So that looks like one I could delete. And if I went it to the update, W0125. Okay, so that is good. Now you could even, under the delete, bring up the record. And then have the button over here that says delete record. So they know exactly which one they're deleting. So lots of way to design that. No memory. What was it? 25. W0125. I press delete. That's not good. That means that my SQL's not right. Well, let's see what I did wrong. Probably didn't do a plus equals if I had to guess. Yep. Plus equals there. Okay, so let's run that again. And go over here, my delete, W0125. Again, that's, if I come over here, W0125, I click look up order. This is the existing record. Now if I go to my delete, I click delete there, delete from orders where order numbers equal W0125. I click OK there. Now if I come back here and I do the load, you see W0125 is gone. If I try to look it up, no record found. So the record has been deleted. So those four represent your four basic SQL operations. Obviously, I could pretty this up some, so it's a little bit easier, more user-friendly to run. But this is what you could create for a business. If you had a place selling sandwiches, then you could create this. You know what the menu they have in the McDonald's, I think. What I've been told anyway. Never have worked at McDonald's, but is it comes up with a screen, and assuming this first screen is some kind of sign in order, what kind of order, so forth. Is this to go type of deal? Maybe not. But it's probably tabs. So if you tell them it's to go at the end of your order, then they can go back to the tab and they can choose to go. But I've been told that there's pictures of food on there. And so if you order a cheeseburger, they just have to look for the one that says that looks like a cheeseburger. And they click it. I'm assuming the text is there too. The idea behind that is if you got somebody that doesn't speak English, that's not their native language, then they can use that menu. And if they don't know that, they can look at the picture and help them. Or maybe it's a double check just so you get your right order. Now, I'd be interested to go look at those kiosks they now have in McDonald's where you don't even order from people, I guess. You go up to it and order yourself. Does it have pictures on there? Is it a copy of what's in their drive-through lane? Now, these are your four main SQL commands. You got your select statement, your insert, update, and delete. Doesn't mean there isn't other ones available. But those are the ones that I mainly used. Some of these were never even used. SQL exists. What does that do? Existence of any record in a subquery. That's why you have a select statement inside of a select statement. What we found for database work is it was always best to keep it simple. Don't embed an SQL statement in an SQL statement, not unless you're forced to. Issue your first SQL statement, your select statement. Get your data back. Put it in some kind of temporary storage. And then issue your next one based upon what you found. Some of these that you may see over here listed maybe aren't in every database system. I encountered this. I don't even remember which one it was. I switched from one database to a relational database to another relational database. And all the fancy SQL that I used, and I hadn't used a whole lot of fancy because I'm not a genius at SQL. Never was after 13 years because you just use the basics. But all the fancy ones I had used did not translate over, so I had to redo them, and that was a pain. The idea is if you're going from one database system to another database system, hopefully you don't have to rewrite everything. This same application I just created here. Let's say I want to put this on Oracle. Well, if I go through and I create Oracle and I create a table called orders, I create fields all named the same, and I make them these standard ones here. What I should have to change in my application is one place. This right here. That's the only change I should have to make. And if you stick with the basic SQL, then that's all you will have to make. It's where you start using some of the extra features of a database because it seems like, well, this is cool. They let you do this. Yeah, that is. But is that going to create more headaches down the road for you? And you say, well, how often do you have to change your database? Well, you'd be surprised. The old place I worked at, they were using an Oracle database. And they went to a product called SAP. And I couldn't even tell you what database system SAP uses. And maybe it uses Oracle, so it might have been a pretty easy translation. Okay, it looks like it could have used the same one, so they could have stayed on Oracle. I don't know if they did or not. SQL Server is a popular one. Sometimes you go to different ones for different support reasons, and that would have been dictated by the company at the bottom and made them go on SAP. Now they're going on to Oracle ERP, and of course that's on Oracle. So maybe all their data was 100% on Oracle. They didn't have to switch. I don't know. But you have to do it every once in a while when you go to a new system. Is there any questions on any of the database stuff we looked at?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording there then, and I won't assign any project today on this. Probably the final exam will be based upon creating a little database system of some sort. We're going to look at other options besides access. Now, some people indicated that they had trouble getting access to work on their computer because they didn't have access. One student found the drivers, and so I put the link out there in last week's folder. So it shows where to download the drivers at, and he was successful when he did that. And so I won't call him up by name, but I do appreciate that because that saved me headaches. Anyway, I'll go ahead and stop the recording, and we're done for today.